Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining me from. Thank y'all for stopping by the live stream today. Shout out to the NTZ crew. Michael Beach of Life says he's heading out to the immigration. Mitch, you gotta click that link. You gotta click the link. What's up, Roger? There's Jacob Tanjay. Thank y'all so much to the NTZ crew. Any old heads? There's Gerald Wilkins, Tobias, Michael. Thank y'all for all your support. Elliot, Makata, any new viewers and subscribers that are joining us for the first time today. I don't know if this is the real David Bond or not. I don't really watch his channel. So watch this David Bond because a lot of people have been sneaking on my channel using fake profiles. And anybody catching this on replay, yeah, Curly's doing a whole lot better. I think he's going to pull through, but he's not 100% yet. He's probably about 70%. The live stream today is when to say when in the Philippines. That means when to come, when to stay, when to go home. I think this was an appropriate title for the live stream, an appropriate topic. Shout out to Jeffrey Tad. I finally got my package today. Man, I'm going to tell you, if you're going to send something through the post office, guys, don't put a value on it. This was the package I was supposed to have received for the walk. It cost me 7,000 pesos. And I think he said he spent, whatever he spent, he put a value on it. And the Philippines taxed him, will tax me. I end up paying 7,000 pesos. The peso is 56.83, Gerald. But he sent me some cool stuff, man. These are some Oakley shades. They're really nice. That's what I need. I needed these for the walk. These are real Oakley shades. He sent me the Old Navy hat. Bunch of stuff, man. Thank you, brother. Even though I had to pay the customs, I don't care. I was just letting people know that when you send stuff over here to yourself or to your woman, just put gift. That's what the people at the post office told me. They said don't place a value on it because if you do, it's going to cost you. Hey, Mitch, looks like your camera's kind of blurry, man. Wipe your camera off.
I have my high tech.
What's going on, Mr. Passport King? Yeah, that looks a lot better. Can you say something so we can see if we?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but it's not loud.
I'll fix it.
Yeah, I saw where the Cowboys got whooped. Today is the panel, and I asked a friend to come on here because I want to talk about something before we get to our topic. He said fried chicken grease on the camera lens. Okay, go ahead and say something, Mitch.
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
Well, we can't hear you. Turn your volume up.
You still can't hear me?
No, it's very low. He said, Gerald Wilkins said, Calvin, how many weeks or months does the package sent from the U.S. take to get there? About 2 months. That's what it took. It took this. Now, he sent this from Japan. August 31st and arrived October. Today is October the 9th. No, 10th.
Is that better, Calvin?
Yeah, it's a little bit better, but I would still turn
Okay,
it up just a little bit more.
I got it
But
maxed out.
go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Mitch Brewer, and I live in Burlington, North Carolina, and I am an independent insurance agent. This is my 20th year. I would also like disclaimer: I do not work for Medicare. I'm not endorsed by Medicare. I'm not endorsed by any insurance company. I am just an independent insurance man that basically specializes in retirement, all things retirement.
Okay, now what is Medicare Advantage?
That is private insurance companies that it's basically managed care. So you have you have a couple of different ways you can go. The word that most people are normally associated with, they hear supplement. That's a little bit of an older style way where you're basically dealing directly with the government, and then whatever the government doesn't pay, your supplement would pick that up. And I can sell those. It's just that, especially in my part of the country, the Medicare Advantage plans, they are by law obligated to give what Medicare would give, but they are also allowed to give extra to incentivize you to come and help and let them manage the care. So I do a lot of that, and I do a lot of also life insurance, and I can use life insurance for different things. I can create retirement accounts, tax-free retirement accounts with life insurance. So I can do a lot of things.
Yeah, so let me ask you, what states are you licensed in?
Currently, and you know how it works. I mean, if I want a license, I just go into a website and pay a fee, and I'm basically licensed. But right now, I believe it's North Carolina, Virginia, Connecticut, Wisconsin, Montana. It's just different places where people have called me from all over the country, really, and asked me for help. So if somebody is in a state that I can help, all my consultation calls are free. So I could always get licensed in any state that I really want to.
Yeah, so that's for anybody who is interested in learning more about Medicare plans. Contact Mitch. Mitch, why don't you put your information up here, your email
Okay.
and your phone number or your contact info, and I'll pass it on.
Okay. Let's see. The best way to reach me is basically I can give you an email, but if you don't put something in the title like "Friend of Sunshine Shoulders" or something like that, like I'm probably not going to see it. So the easiest way to get in contact with me is just send me a text and schedule a time that you'd like to talk with me. Can you see that, Calvin? That's my phone number.
Wait, let me see. It's
And
probably going to be on the private chat.
it's in that that thing with
Yeah, let me see if they'll let me.
I can even come. I can
Okay,
come back over
copy this.
because I think what
Okay.
I was looping on the sound, so I had to click off YouTube altogether. Except on the television, I can see myself on the television. Hey, Mitch, I can see you over there. So yeah, the only thing that's easier to find than me on the internet is probably a Filipina in the Philippines. So if you go to Mitch Brewer on LinkedIn, I talk a lot about retirement. In fact, I was really impressed with your talk that you gave the other day about some of the fears and some of the mental stuff that goes on with the retirement. And I talk a lot about that over there. And I have a little quiz that you can take. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I especially want to hear from you if you don't think you can do it, because it's probably just a piece of missing information somewhere. I love a challenge. And so basically a couple of different times a year, I put challenges out on social media, and I say, hey, if you don't think you can retire, I want to talk to you. And I may not have been able to help that specific person with what they had in mind, but I always find something in the family that helps the whole family move forward. So it's just a conversation. I'm what I call the OG SOB. My dad is a son. I'm a son of a banker. I grew up where most people were learning, fairy tales and stuff like that. I was learning about the rules of 72, learning compound interest. Like the biggest problem my parents faced was I would actually discover. I can remember as a little kid, like 8 years old, going to my dad and saying, "Hey, Dad, I see a lag time between the time I write a check and it cashes, and I think I can make some money with this." He's like, "Mitch, that's called check kiting, and you'll put us all in prison." And so I was like, "Okay, we don't want to go to prison, so let's stay away from there." So I was figuring this stuff out as a kid, and
Yeah. Let me ask you something. So, what's your connection to the Philippines?
okay. I kind of had an idea you would ask me about that. It really all started during the lockdowns. My world has been turned upside down a couple of different times, and actually a year prior to the lockdowns and the whole thing and everybody, I basically I had a couple of things happen that turned my world upside down a year previous. I've been dating a lady, I thought, for about 4 years, and ended a text with "love you," and all of a sudden she gone. Like I'm like what happened there? And then like just like right after that, my mom died. And when my mom died, man, it was indescribable. I mean, I had all these feelings. I had guilt. I had all these things that were happening, and in the meantime, it really all started with a young lady that reached out from the Philippines just to chat. And I'm sitting here at the house. I didn't have anything else to do. And she seemed friendly enough. She never asked me for money. She would share things about her life. And I didn't really know. I mean, I'd heard of the Philippines. I'd never really even considered going there. But I could just tell, like, it was a hard life. And it was like a daily food struggle. And
Right. So, have you made any plans to come here, Jack? Because remember, we're on a live stream. We got to keep our answers brief.
right.
Okay. Because if not,
I've got a plan.
I've got all the comments over here, and they're stacking up. And they want to more or less, like I was talking to Gail last week, to bounce off of each other. So make your answers brief.
Okay.
Okay.
But that's how it started. It just started with somebody from over there writing me. And
okay.
Yeah, and
but do you have any plans? Do you have any plans to visit here?
I don't have a date set, but I am getting much closer to that happening. I've got my passport, and from what I understand, you said that the sunglasses were a big deal. So I got my sunglasses. Yeah. So I'm just trying to work on some different details. I'll go ahead and I'll share one of the things that I think you can relate to is I've never been this far from home. To go this far from home is a long way. Now I have uprooted and moved to places that I wasn't familiar with, and I see the difficulties in that. But when I start to think about being in this airplane for like 20 hours, that's one of the things that is a big concern to me, because it's not like I can say, "Hey guys, I want to stop and get off for a few minutes." So that's
right. Yeah, that's right.
So that's something I'm kind of doing here.
He says, "Good morning, Cal, Jack, and the audience on bus from Marlboro back to Cebu. How long did you stay there, Geechee Line?" But the topic I picked was kind of tied to my video I did yesterday about check on your people. Some expats over here, they're unprepared. They didn't plan correctly. They either don't have enough money, they're not in good health, or they don't have the right mental state to navigate the Philippines. They get this message that it's so easy over here. Okay, this is what they're hearing. So they're coming over here in droves now. And a lot of them are going back home disappointed because they really don't know what they're doing. They just show up here and think, well, the woman's going to meet me at the airport and, you know, all I got to do is just show up here. But they don't realize that these women have standards too over here. They've got standards. So I just wanted to talk about that. When to come to the Philippines. I say when you're ready, when you're prepared, if you have a plan. W Secrets of Success, thanks for that super chat. He says, Mitch, you can take a cruise as well.
That's
what, to the Philippines? To the Philippines? I don't know.
I need to find out more about that.
Yeah, I do too. That would be something. That would take you a long time, but I don't know about taking a cruise over here. I know they offer a cruise out of Manila, and you sort of sail around Southeast Asia. I believe you go to Singapore and a couple of places like that, but I don't know about taking a cruise from the United States to the Philippines.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people would do that, but a lot of men are showing up unprepared over here. I'm not a babysitter. I can't do it. If you come over here to see me, that's fine. You know, I'll entertain you for a couple of days, but that's about it. You know, I can point you in the right direction. But to be a babysitter over here, I can't do it. You know, there's enough information out here where if you decide to come to the Philippines, you should be ready. You should be prepared. You have to have a plan. So that's what I'm saying. When are you coming? Are you coming just for vacation? Are you coming for an exploratory trip? Because a lot of guys are coming over here and they're just saying, I'm here for good. This is their first time they're coming over here on one-way tickets, and it's not a good thing. So that's why I asked you, Mitch, when are you coming? You have to know when. You have to be ready. Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm still having some health challenges. I think it is quite possible that it could line up where it would happen in January. I would love to come in January. My birthday's in January, and I would miss the worst part of the winter time here. But at the same time, I'm not gonna, like, I've done things in a hurry. Like you're talking about these guys that are coming there, getting married like in 2 weeks. I've already had that short-term thinking and that impulse actions bite me so many times in the past. I'm slowing down. Like if I don't make it in January, it's okay. Maybe it'll be February. Maybe it'll be later. You know, I'm not in a hurry. I want to make sure I do it right. I don't want to be on the show as somebody trying to get back.
Right. But that's the when. And then you have to know when to stay. It's like, okay, I've been over here now. I can navigate. You know, I've made some friends over here. I've got an apartment. You have to know when to stay, but then when to go home. You know, a lot of guys run out of money and they try to, you know, come up with a plan off the seat of their pants. They end up overstaying. They end up out on the street. They end up in trouble. Because I'm going to tell you something. As nice as the Filipinos are over here and as welcoming as they are, if you go broke over here, they can't help you. And that's the problem we have. Some guys fall in love and they don't want to go. They can't go back. They don't want to do the LDR. And it can really get frustrating over here. Barry says, Calvin, that's all I do is prepare. Why I'm not there yet and won't be until after August 1st, 2026 is when I retire. Okay, now here's the thing. Why don't you just come over here to visit? We were talking about that the other night at dinner because we only get a week or two of vacation in America. But I would suggest that you come to visit. Don't just come here and put all your eggs in one basket. Come and visit, see how you like it, go back home, maybe do that a few times before you make the big jump.
Yeah, I think if more people would do that with a lot of things, like today on my LinkedIn post, I wrote about, hey, I hope you took the time over the weekend to practice your retirement, because a lot of people get to retirement and they don't know what to do. It's kind of the same thing, you know. It's like, go visit. Don't just pack up, like you talked the other night about a guy that had sold everything and he just couldn't get on the plane. I mean,
Now, what about, have you ever traveled overseas before, Mitch?
I've never been overseas. I have flown many times, and I have worked at a distance. So
I mean, have you been to like Mexico or any place?
nope.
How old are you?
I am 57, and I'll be 58 in January.
Okay, see, when I be putting out statistics, people don't believe it. But about less than 5% of Americans travel overseas each year. And what I mean by overseas, I don't mean Jamaica, the Caribbean, Mexico. I'm talking about Africa, Asia, Europe, Southeast Asia, different places like that. Very few of us travel overseas. So, Mitch, you're an example of that. So, what are you doing to get yourself ready? You're talking about coming over in January. I mean, if everything works out, I mean, that's right around the corner. We're in the middle of October right now. I
Right.
mean, what are you doing to get ready for that long trip? And you're into a whole different culture. Have you been chatting with a woman or something? Or what are you doing?
Well, I have friends over there. I have friends over there all the way. At this point, I have friends all the way from the northern part in Luzon. I have friends in Cebu. I have you there in Occidental, and I have a secretary that works for me out of General Santos. So I know people all over the country at this point, and that's really what is driving me over there is the people. When I go out here, I don't really see happy people, and and my interactions with these people over there, they've been super honest to me. They've had, you know, like I'm not stupid, you know. I deal with people for a living. So when I see these people that are in such hard circumstances and they're still smiling, I want some of that. I would rather go eat rice and a dog head.
Right.
I'd
But
rather
what are
eat
you going to
rice.
do when you get here? What are you going to do when you get here, Mitch? That's my
My,
question.
my plan is to fly into Cebu, and I really like the Sikihor Island. Out of all the things that I've seen, I'm the type of person that starts with designing my day from the moment I wake up in the morning and open my eyes, and I can see myself waking up, making my coffee, going down to the beach, seeing what the weather is, waiting until the housekeeper comes and tells me what she bought at the market that day that she's going to make for me. And basically, I'll just hang out there on the beach and maybe go watch the ferry come in the evening. And I'll be content with.
Do you plan on having a relationship?
I do. I mean, I haven't picked one out, but I think that with me being a people person and the opportunities that I think I'll be presented over there, then yeah, I think I'll eventually meet a Panay. Yeah.
Now, you were talking about you had some health challenges. I don't know if Sikihor Island would be the best place for you because they really don't have they've got like a regional hospital, like a little clinic sort of setup over there. I mean, you'd be closest to Dumaguete, but that would be a 30-minute ocean jet ferry ride if they're going to, depend on when you have your emergency. But let
Right.
me ask this question about Dwight Mahaber. He says, what's an LDR? It's a long distance relationship. It's where, now we're not talking about you chatting with somebody, Dwight. We're talking about you come over here to visit her. She comes to the United States to visit you. You're together for a certain amount of time. You probably consummate the relationship. And then she either goes back home or you go back home. And now she's in the Philippines and you're in America, England, or wherever you are. That's a long distance relationship. And you know, how long should a long distance relationship last? I don't know. I guess as long as you can tolerate it. But I was talking about something I've got a guest in the guest house now. And we were saying, I don't know who's more desperate now, Mitch, the men coming over here or the women we come over here to meet. And it's a crazy scenario when you think about it. These men are in despair. So they're coming over here to date women who are in despair over here. And if you don't know what the word despair means, it simply means the complete loss or absence of hope. Now, why we think that's going to work, I don't know, but it's been working, but a lot of times it doesn't. Does that make sense to you? I'm in despair and I'm coming over here hoping that a woman who's in despair can help me. And I guess she's thinking the same thing, but we've lost a lot of ground over here, Mitch, because a lot of guys are coming over here, they're hopeless. They have no hope of finding happiness or love or anything in their country or being found. You know, nobody's looking for them over there. So they come over here to the woman who is hopeless. She has no hope of ever getting out of her situation. So when all else fails, date a foreigner, or when all else fails, come to the Philippines. This is the situation a lot of us find ourselves in. And I just want to kind of talk about that now. Are you in that situation, Mitch, where you've lost all hope of ever finding true love or happiness in America?
I have given up on dating American women. Yeah.
So you lost hope of ever finding anybody over there. So you're coming to the Philippines and basically looking to date a woman who's lost all hope.
But see, I'm not necessarily coming to date a woman. I'm coming to be around happy people and a more affordable place to live, better weather. And I think that if I do meet somebody that would be special enough like that for me, that's just the cherry on top. That's just the extra. Because here, like you talked about how your neighbors come by and they're like, hey, can I wash your clothes? Or hey, can I do? There's none of that here. Like this is a different country than it was 10 years ago, much less 20 or 30 years ago. So I just think that my interaction would be higher. I want to become part of the community.
But you're not going to be monk mode over here, are you?
No.
I mean, eventually you're going to have some type of romantic interest. Have you been married before?
I have been married before, and it was one of those. I was like 31 and she was 29, and we didn't know each other long, and we got married quick. And that's what I was talking about, how that impulsive, knee-jerk reaction to activity, man, it was not pleasant. And
how long were you married?
I want to say I got married like around 97, and then we had our disagreement in 2006. The disagreement was I didn't think she should have a boyfriend, and she disagreed. And then it basically destroyed me, man. I mean, I came like this close to just that was like the first time that my world got turned all upside down, and
so you had no idea that she was seeing somebody else?
I had some suspicions, but I really didn't think it had gotten that far. But yeah, it came out because I love to read everything. My love of reading is actually what made me discover it's kind of a long story, but when she would bring some home from her work, and I would read it. So all the handbooks, all the stuff, any handbook or anything, because I just love to read. And so I noticed that she wasn't dressed for her work, and that's where she was telling me she was going. And it turned out she wasn't going to work.
Could you tell, like when y'all were making love, could you tell, was it looser or was she more? I mean, because guys say that they can tell if a woman's worked in the bar before when they make love to her because it's loosey goosey. But could you tell any difference with your wife?
I couldn't, but I can say that in my younger years, I did have a girlfriend when I went away to school, and it had been a long time. And I, you know what I mean? It's like this don't feel like it ought to feel. So I think that sometimes that can happen, but I that's not really the things that were popping up as red flags for me.
Well,
it was like notes in the pocket or sudden interest in makeup, that kind of thing.
Well, Gerald Stiffbach, said, huh? Looser. Yeah. If some man is pounding your wife, you should be able to tell the difference.
He might have been complaining, I don't know.
Especially on a regular basis. I mean, you guys, we're 45 and over on this channel. This is an adult channel. We talk about grown-up stuff. I mean, what's the big deal about that? There has to be some way that he kind of suspected that his wife was doing something. I'm saying some guys over here, this is the point I was trying to make in that video. They say, oh, I know a bar girl from a regular Filipino. No, you won't. How would you know? Her attitude, they said.
What really was like the thing that really caused it to come out was she was very stingy, and she had gotten just a little bit of money from her grandma. Her grandma had sold some land, and she came up to me. I was sitting at my desk. I have these notebooks, and I wish I had one around me, but like I was making a notebook where every customer had a page. And I told her, I said, anything on my desk, don't be messing with my desk. This could be a document or something. You just can't be writing on stuff. And she came up, and the first thing she said, here's $100. And I thought, who is this? To freely offer $100, in 2006. And she's like, well, there's a sale at the big man store. You need some clothes. Go get you some clothes. And I said, well, where are you going? She said, I'm going to work. And I said, well, you're not dressed for it. You don't have any sleeves on. So, and so what happened was I sat down to work at my book, and I'm the type of person where if you say something to upset me or somebody does something that upsets me, I'm going to stay upset until I can say, hey, Calvin, that really upset me. Then I'm okay. So when I sat down to work on my book, I had saw where she had basically balanced her checkbook with a purple marker on the very front page of my book. And it just made me mad. I'd worked hard on that book, and I couldn't just tear the paper out. So I wanted to just call. I waited till she had time to get to work, and my intentions were just to call her and say, hey, I just want you to know I'm upset because you messed my book up. Now that it's over with. There's no more discussion. I'm not going to yell. I'm not, anything like that. I just wanted to express myself, and basically the manager finally gets on the phone and says, Mitch, your wife is not in the store and she is not on the schedule. And I said, you're wrong, man. Yeah, you're wrong, man. I went looking for her, and I basically tracked her down through computer. We were using a VoIP back then. And that's how I started looking at numbers. I'm like, I haven't been working down here. Why who's this? And so I called, and a man answered, and that's how I found out.
Did he agree? Did he admit to it and say, hey, I'm with your wife?
No, he didn't know what to do. It was like silence and then click. And so I called back, and I was like, hey, let me speak to her. And it was just like silence and click. So at that point, I knew, and then so I called a friend of mine. I called a friend of mine that was closer because I was probably at least an hour away, And I called a friend of mine that I had done a lot of favors for over the years. And I said, hey, man, what you doing? I need a favor. I need you to go by this address and tell me what you see. And so he called me in about 40 minutes and he said, well, I'm at a single wide trailer. There's a truck that looks like yours out there, but older. and,
Yeah.
and your car and your car is out there. So
Wow.
and then 2 days after that, which, it sounds really bad, man. But 2 days after that, I had been working with a team, insurance team, that had been making me a lot of promises for about 3 years. And so on September, and I can remember it because it was the day before September 11th. It was September 10th. I found out about her. On September the 12th, he called and broke every promise he had ever made to me. And I basically said, okay, I went into this identity crisis. Like, I didn't know who I was. I wasn't a husband anymore. And I wasn't, I was like, well, who am I? Like, I'm not a husband anymore. I'm not a businessman anymore. Like, and so I just went through this period of time where it was like a couple of weeks. Some of my friends, close friends were like, where's Mitch? Mitch is missing. So I had a guy, he came by my house one day and I stepped out on the porch and he was like, wow, look at you, man. Like, you don't look like you've bathed or shaved in 2 weeks. And I said, that's because I haven't. That's because I haven't. I mean, it's like I would get up every morning. My motto was no bullets before breakfast. And I knew if I could ever get up and just make my breakfast, I could go sit on the couch and stare at the wall till the end of the day. And so he lined me up with a job, answering the phone at a car place. And I was so thankful because it got me out of the house. And I went down there to the guy. I told him, I said, look, I'm so thankful for you letting me answer your phone, but at the same time, I know I'm going to get like really bored. So go ahead and tell me like 3 or 4 of your hardest problems in your business, and I'll go ahead and solve those for you while I'm here too.
Yeah.
And I did. And I worked there over the summer, and then, I started noticing he cut my hours back a little bit. That was kind of my hint of like, okay, you need to move on a little bit. And so that's when I went out and that's when I discovered the Medicare Advantage business. Actually,
okay.
That's what actually drove me. So in 3 seasons.
Let me ask you this. And so that's how you got through that heartache. You worked your way out of it. You worked your way through it.
Yep.
Now, Mike M says women can tell a desperate guy and they take him to the cleaners. That's why Americans come back broke. But we're coming over here to desperate women, Mike. That's what you don't understand. That's the whole point. I'm trying to say, does that make any sense? We're coming over here in despair, hoping that a woman over here in despair can save us. Does that really make any sense? It doesn't make sense to me. Somehow we're making it work, but if you're in your right man, you wouldn't. Why would you want to? It's like jumping from the frying pan into the fire. But, I don't know where our thinking is. I guess if you coming from a place like Mitch was coming, where his wife then just stomped on his heart like that, you're just saying, hey, I'm trying to get away from here. Anything can be better than that. But you healed from that. Did you get married again, Mitch? What did you do?
No, after about, she finally actually admitted, like I knew it, but my brain just would not accept it. And so finally what happened was she admitted it to a preacher, and the preacher told everybody but me. And so I ended up talking to another preacher that knew that preacher. I know you're not, that's not your thing, and that's cool. I'm not here to, try to bring that up or anything, but basically it was told to me, okay, Mitch, she's admitted it. And so once that went into my brain, I went and got the divorce papers done, and I still didn't date for a very long time, but I had a friend of mine, a lady friend, she's married, but she came to me and she said, Mitch, you need to start dating again. And I said, no. And she said, I know what you're thinking. She's like, you don't think you're, a good catch. She said, Mitch, you're a catch. She says, you don't live with your mama. You have your own place. You have a driver's license. You haven't lost it to DUIs.
Yeah.
And the third thing is she says you have an income. She said it's not huge, but you got one.
Yeah. Let me
Yeah.
ask you this. How long have you been single?
I think the actual divorce was in 2011. And
No, I mean, but how long have you been single now? 2023.
Yeah, so that's what.
You would know that.
Yeah,
I mean,
22
so
years.
you haven't been with a woman since then?
I dated a bunch of them, man. I've lost. You see, I'm a big man now. I've lost 100 pounds. So even when my weight was 400 and 450 pounds, I was a salesman. I would have 2 dates a day. I would go take one out for lunch, go drop her off, and go pick one up for dinner. I mean, I was so good at it that my friends were coming to me saying, "Hey, can you teach this guy how to do it?" And I'm like, "Nope." And they're like, "Why not?" I said, "Because you got to have 3 things, or at least 2, and be working on the third one. And this guy's got 1 thing." I said, "If he gets the second thing or something, maybe I could help him." But it almost was like there was no challenge. And man, the joke was actually on me. The joke was actually on me because I was living up in the country, and the way I wound up living here is in my mind. I thought if I moved into the city, that the women I would be meeting online would be closer. They wouldn't all be an hour away. But what actually happened was they were still always at least an hour away. And I started figuring out, because of my sales process mind, that was by design. Because if your boyfriend lives an hour away, he don't just drop in on you. He don't ride by your house.
He said you may need to come with a friend to keep you out of trouble. Because
Maybe.
Have you seen some of these women over here, Mitch?
Oh, yes. I've chatted with some. I've been introduced to some. But my thing is now is I learned through this whole process that until I get there, it's no different than me talking to you. You know what I mean? I won't have any trouble. Like I'm saying, I'm such a people person that when I get wherever I'm going, I can't even go down here to the grocery store without meeting people. It's just in me now, because I was such an introvert when I went into sales. I went into sales because I was told that I would have good relationships, have good friends, good friendships.
Yeah. Let me ask you something. Do you get out a lot, Mitch? Because it seems like you're getting a lot out of you now. Like, when's the last time you really got out and had a good time and been around friends? Has it been a while?
Yeah. I stay alone.
Yeah, it's been around.
I stay alone a lot. I do. Especially after the COVID. There used to be a lot of things here in town to do, like the music and things like that, but none of that came back.
Yeah, he said, congratulations on a 100-pound weight loss. How did you do that?
Well, after a couple of years of the doctors really not helping me or anything, I found a lady named Krista on Facebook, and she was a doctor of pharmacology who had gotten basically fired, or she quit the diabetes clinic. She was working in a diabetes clinic, helping people lose weight and come off their medicines, and that's what I wanted. And the doctors were telling me I'd be on this the rest of my life, and so I finally just called her, and she, had me set a few goals. My very first goal was, I told her, I said, I've got a scale here at my home that goes up to 400 pounds, and I can't weigh on it. I want to be able to weigh.
Right, but I'm saying, how did you? Remember, let's try to keep these answers brief. How did you lose 100 pounds?
4 things. I quit putting sugar in my coffee and drinking sugary things. Now I drink water, cans of flavored carbonated water. I drink a lot of these. I fast 12 hours a day minimum. It's probably more than that now because I'm trying to really make a push. But and 50 carbs maximum a day. I try to stay around 50 carbs. Now, sometimes I do, slide off a little bit with the ice cream or something like that. But, and the fourth one is just basically only change one thing a day, so that if you don't feel good the next day, you know what you did differently and got that result. Or if you do feel better the next day, you know what you did differently and you got that result. So it's just really just four things.
Yeah. So you're doing the same thing to keep it off. What's your goal? Do you have a goal? You're going to lose more weight?
Yeah, I've probably got about another 60 pounds, I think.
So you're right now, you're at what? How much are you weighing right now?
Around 313.
Okay, so you're 330. How tall are you?
5'9".
5'9". Okay. So has women ever told you that was a problem? Did they say, hey, we don't find that attractive? Because over here, remember, women are in despair, so they don't care really. They
I've
don't
never had
care
any
that you're
problem getting dates.
313 pounds.
I've never had any
At first, anyhow.
I've never
Once,
had trouble getting dates. I've never had any trouble getting dates. And a lot of it is just the sales process, man. I mean, people say, I don't want to be in sales. Well, guess what? That's why you can't get a date. You got to sell at least once if you want a date.
Yeah.
I can hold a good conversation. Most of the women I dated were people like college professors that taught economics. There was a lady that I was pretty fond of with that. I dated another lady that was a nurse. I dated another lady that actually the last one I dated, she ran a pretty large daycare center. So I mean, these were these were not, they were people that had stuff going on. I mean, I could hold a conversation with them.
Yeah. So when you do make it over here, do you plan on staying, or are you just going to visit?
My first trip, I'm hoping will be 28 days is my goal for my first trip. I'm not going to just like pick up and say because I've never been there. Like, what if I get over there and I don't, it's too hot, or whatever. I don't know. So just like you did, you went many times, and that's my goal. My goal is to make trips back and forth. I'll get to know the area. I'll get to know the people more. And eventually I'll just start staying longer and longer.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I don't know why people think the Philippines is going anywhere. I've noticed a trend. I noticed a troubling trend, because pre-pandemic, nobody was coming over here really. Yeah. It was, they trickled in, but now that the floodgates have opened, and just everybody's showing up over here like, well, it's that easy. I can do it. If they can do it, I can do it. That's not the reason to come over here. See, that's not the reason to come, because you see somebody else doing it, because you don't know the backstory. Don't know that this guy has, conversation. He has persuasion. He knows how to strike up a conversation, which is really, really important here. Women here aren't going to approach you really.
Right.
And I think guys are getting off on the wrong foot over here, man. I mean, it's really bad. Some of the cases I've seen over here over the last 18 months. And I'm saying, do these people's family even know they're over here? Because if they did, it's like, they need to come and check up. They need to come and check on them. Because a lot of these guys, if you go on YouTube right now, you're going to see several videos where people, foreigners, a lot of them Americans, they're over here, man. They've been left for dead. I'm like, do their family even know they over here? Some people just don't. It's not the right time for them to come over here. That's why I say when. You got to know when to say when.
People don't realize, like, okay, in 2009, when everybody started losing a lot of people started losing their houses in 08, 09. I was in that bunch. So in 09, at the end of 09, I ended up, I was going to have to leave my house. And so I just said, you know what, Mitch? And I wasn't thinking as big as you. I wish I would have been thinking as big as you, because I would have thought to move further, really. But I picked up and I moved a couple of 100 miles away because as an infant, I was adopted, and that's one of the things that, while some of that hard stuff was going on in my life, I found my birth family. And so I decided, you know what, I'll just move down there near them, and I'll get to know them. And that was about 200 miles away. Now, I wasn't moving to a different state, but I'm telling you, 200 miles was a huge difference, man, because even 200 miles different, the barbecue was different. If I went into a restaurant and I ordered chicken pot pie, they'd say, "What's that? What's that?" And I'm like, "You don't know what chicken pot pie is?" They said, "Oh, I bet you mean chicken pastry." So even 200 miles, they were calling foods different names. I mean, there was just, so I can't even imagine when you start. And I had a friend of mine, he said, "Mitch," he said, "I can't imagine just like you're just picking up and moving." And I'm like, "Well, I ain't going that far." But
why don't you take some shorter trips first? Why don't you go to Mexico or
that's a good
the
idea.
Dominican Republic or some places like that to get your feet wet before you come all the way over here, 8,000 miles away?
It's probably a very good
Now,
idea.
Yusuf Amal Habib says, Calvin, do the young women like the bad boys like they do in the West? Not really. That's why you see a lot of guys come over here, a lot of regular guys come over here and they get on. The women, they're winning over here. Because remember, we're as desperate as they are over here. A guy told me one time, two sickos don't make a well-o. But that's what we're trying to do. So they're just as desperate over here as we are. But I don't know who's more desperate now. I could clearly see it when I came over in 2009. The women were far more desperate. But now that I see these guys showing up over here, I'm talking about in droves now. I don't know who's more desperate now, the men or the women. And I think the women are getting smarter. They're like, well, hey, we don't have to bend as far backwards as we used to, because these guys will accept anything over here. And we've lost a lot of ground. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They're getting smarter over here. They've figured it out. They're saying these guys are desperate. I don't have to do as much as I used to do to please them anymore. And this is just what I'm seeing over here, man. Too many guys are being taken advantage of when they shouldn't be taken advantage of. You should be able to see what's going on over here, but they can't see it because they're so desperate. The minute the woman shows them any type of attention, man, they just lose it. Remember I told you about the 70-year-old guy? This guy is smart enough to know better. So I'm saying, I said, hey, man, how long you been chatting with this woman? He said a year. So that means she was 18 and he was 69. You see what I'm saying? That's I don't know what kind of mix that was going to make anyway. But she got him, man. She got him good. And it's just far too much of that going on. It didn't used to be as prevalent as it is now, man. It's just seems like every man that comes over here now is getting rolled over.
I think the lockdown period really changed a lot of people. I've talked to different doctors, and it's affected even a lot of my seniors, because right now I'm in the process of calling all my seniors and giving, because I know they don't read the change of benefits book, annual change of benefits. Right. So I call them, and especially if it's something that's really going to save them, more money or whatever they need to know about. And because I've been doing it so long, I don't only have mom, I got the son and his wife too. And so a lot of times when I'm calling, I talk to the son, and like I called the man the other day, and I asked him, I said, "How's your mama doing?" And he said, "Mitch, she ain't doing too good." He said, she's scared to leave the house, and she got the Alzheimer's. And I said, "Well, why is she scared to leave the house?" He said, "Because that's where that thing is." And I lost another client last year. He had throat cancer, Calvin. He was throwing up blood. and he was convinced that the germ was at the hospital. He wouldn't go to the hospital. So, you know, I think that impacted people far deeper than we really know.
Now, I think this guy's taking um, a plug at me, so let me set him straight. He says all the blogs telling these guys that they can make it 18 to 80 blind, crippled, and crazy. I'm talking about the desperation of the women for Collar Wheel. Okay. But now it's gotten to the point where the men are just as desperate as the women. When I did the 18 to 80, I'm saying, hey, because these women over here are desperate. Now I don't know who's more desperate. Because the men are coming over here. You see some of these women that these guys are shacking up with and dating, and you'll be like, you turn the 18 to 80 in reverse. I'm like, nah, I'm not dating a Filipino in a wheelchair. I'm not dating a big Maria, anything like that. But that's what's happening. You know, I'm like, dude, you come all the way over here for that? You know, so now, a lot of times you cannot pick your audience, Bacala will, first of all. So they're hearing something else. You know, to us, it might be common sense, what we're saying. Like, hey, man, come over here, you know, slow down. You know, you don't have to, you know, jump on the first train smoking. You know, try to settle in, get you an apartment, you know, take care of your business first. Maybe they're not hearing that. They're just seeing me with Marilyn, and they think, oh, I can get me a Marilyn. Because I've had several guys tell me that I want a woman like Marilyn. Well, there's only one Marilyn. You know, they're hearing. I know what they're hearing. They're hearing it's easy here, and they're thinking it's a whole lot easier than what it really is. Yeah, it's easy for somebody like me because I'm in my right mind. I'm from the streets, man. Over here, it's no big deal to me. But a lot of guys like Mitch, look at Mitch. He's coming from North Carolina. He hasn't been anywhere before. For him, it's going to be a big jump. When he gets over here and one of these little 22, 24-year-old women, you know, jump in his lap, then, you know, that's when the rubber hits the road. And a lot of guys can't handle it. That's what I'm saying to you. So, hey, man, go to Mexico first. Go to, hell, Dominican Republic. Do some baby steps first, because what's waiting over here for a lot of guys, they have no clue. They have no idea, and they can't handle it. But, yeah, he said you're like a ox going to slaughter. Well, if he comes over here in the condition he's in right now, that's what's going to happen to you, Mitch, if you come over here right now. Okay? I wouldn't come over here right now. I'd take some few other trips, because I came to Mexico first before I came here. I was in Mexico 2 months before I came to the Philippines, because that may would have happened to me. No, we don't want lady boys. I mean, some guys like lady boys, but not everybody. Watch this guy right here, Jacob Tanjay. We don't need that on here today. We're just trying to help guys, man, because I'm going to tell you, I'm not babysitting anybody over here, you know, and I was just babysitting for about a week, and I can't do it, man. I'm sorry. I can't do it. So that's why I try to make these videos and be as real as I possibly can. Don't come over here unless you're ready, man, because nobody's going to hold your hand over here. You're going to end up getting in trouble over here. And then you say, well, and let me back that up and say, I'm in no position to tell any grown man what to do. But I'm telling you what I'm seeing. A lot of these guys have no business being over here. You know, they're just watching these videos. That's not enough. Well, they say God looks after babies and fools, because that's what's happening. Okay? These women are starting to get smarter, and they can see the desperation. You know, imagine this little young girl was 19, single mother, no education, no nothing. She just took him like, hey, you should be happy to be with me. Let me get the driver. Let me get the maid. Let me get the 3 hotel rooms. Just taking him for a ride. And here he is, 70 years old. He could have easily stopped that at any time. Like, look, lady, get the hell out of here. But he was reeking with desperation. He probably seen that little 19-year-old body and lost his damn mind. We can't do that, guys. We have to be careful over here. Sammy, what's up, Sammy? Long time, man. I was showing Marilyn one of your videos the other day. I said, Sammy used to come on my live stream. He don't come on anymore. But he said, for me, both is desperate for some reason. Men do it because they're hungry of sex, and girls are hungry for money. Yeah, that's the real deal right there. But nobody wants to say it. Yeah, he says, well, I don't know what he's talking about right there. No, because I wasn't acting desperate. I wasn't desperate. You got to understand, I was already over here, had been over here for 10 years when I met Marilyn. There was no desperation in me, even when I first came. Remember, I went to Mexico first. So if I was desperate, they took the desperation out of me. Have you ever been to Mexico? Have you ever been into Tijuana and Playa del Carmen and all those places? They got some nice looking women over there. Okay? No, I wasn't desperate. And that's what I'm telling you guys. They're coming over here. They're reeking of desperation, and women can see it. And the women's like, yeah, I'm desperate too. But I don't have to, jump through the hoops like I used to jump through, because these guys are just so desperate now. They're spending millions and millions of pesos, and they don't even know the woman. They're just doing the craziest stuff, man, over here. And I can't really explain myself. You have to be over here to see it. I'm just saying to the people over there whose fathers and brothers and uncles are coming over here, just check on your people. Make sure they're okay. Clint Dow said, my problem is choosing. Yeah, see, you from the streets, Clint. I met you personally before. You stayed in the guest house. You're ready for what's going on over here. But a lot of guys that come over here, they're not ready. So you think you're ready, Mitch, for what's over here?
Well, I guess if I spoke on that, I would be speaking about something I haven't seen.
No, I mean, you're watching the videos and everything, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm ready for my first visit. I'm not to the point of saying, yeah, this is going to be it, but I do want to come visit. I want to explore the country. And
I mean, do you think you could handle one of these little young 22 to 24-year-old with the perfect body, the long flowing hair, and she says, Mitch, I love you and I want to marry you, and then she's doing everything for you, tying your shoes, washing your clothes,
you have to be patient, man, because like I'm saying, I've already done the really fast way first, and it turned out terrible. So
but this is something different over here. See, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Guys don't want to listen. Mitch, it's different over here, okay? When you get over here and you see that little girl that you've been chatting with, and she takes off her clothes and she says, here, you can do to me anything you want. And you haven't done that. You haven't experienced that in months, probably, or maybe years. Are you going to be able to handle that? See, it's easy to sit back in North Carolina. You're 8,000 miles away. And I'm not picking on you. I'm saying This is the typical guy who's showing up over here. He said, I can handle it. I want that. Calvin's got that. That's what I want. But when he gets over here, he can't handle it. He loses his ability to function, really. And they end up losing their life savings. They can't get back home. Look at that guy, John, down in Dumaguete. Had that young girl end up having children with her. He loses everything because we can't think straight now. It looks so easy though. Oh yeah, look at her. She's from the province. I'm gonna come over there.
Yeah, I don't see myself being in a hurry, even if it got to that point. I will still would not be in a hurry. I'm just not in a hurry, man.
Well,
I mean, I would be totally happy if I could come over there. Let's just say I came over there and I ended up moving near like where my secretary lives. And she's got a huge family. She's got 12 brothers and sisters. She's got parents. They go on trips on the weekends and stuff. If I could just live near them and have a housekeeper and become part of their family, more or less, you know what I mean? Like adopt them. I think just the interaction and having the family back. Because when I was growing up, you know, when the holidays came, everybody came to my house, you know, and it was great. But now that I'm an adult, I don't like, my family's mostly gone. My mom's gone. When my mom died, that family just like did some of the craziest stuff that I don't even have time to get into, but that split that family. I got a grandfather that's 97 years old and he's got Alzheimer's, and sometimes he knows who I am and sometimes he doesn't.
Yeah. Now see, he's got a good question. He says, this is Brock's 100 national parks to visit in the U.S. He says, how do you know when you're ready? Well, see, like I said yesterday, people will say they're ready in their mind because they've got the money and they've got the passport. And they say, oh, I'm ready. You really don't know you're ready till you get over here. The problem we're making, Brock's, is they're selling everything and moving over here for good when they don't even know if they're ready or not. This is the problem they're doing. You're not going to know you're ready until you get over here. But don't sell everything. Don't burn all your bridges and put all your eggs in one basket if you're not for sure. You know, because I'm going to tell you, man, there's some people over here right now, they have no business being over here, man. They, you know, not trying to live.
I'll never totally cut ties with here. In fact, that's part of my plan is I have to establish even keep my license. You know, I have to have a residential address. So I have to figure out a way that I can have a residential address, but not necessarily live there, or at least not live all year there. Let's just put it that way. So I do have a lot more complications probably than the average person in doing something like this, but that's not going to deter me because I've been first at a lot of things in my life. I've overcome a lot of things in my life. It's just another problem to solve. It's not a big deal. You know, it's just.
Well, Barry, this is why I was laughing when I read this. He said, when I move there, I'm going to be the one in charge. I'm not pretexting anyone. If a 24-year-old walks into the room, she has to leave. I'll have a 3 days rule. What's that 3 days rule?
I heard a guy talking about he had a 2-day rule.
What is that?
Well, what he was talking about is he said, like, if he meets a Filipina, like, it's never at his house, but if he ever does get to the point in the relationship where he would let her come to the house, she could stay for 2 days with the understanding that if she did good, she would still have to leave after 2 days, but she would be welcome back later for 2 other days.
Oh, okay. So so you're not going to live. You're not going to have a live-in.
I think that's what that other guy was talking about. I actually thought that the idea where you said that the man put the woman in the rooming house to improve her situation.
Yeah. He's a smart guy. He's a smart guy, though.
Yes, really smart.
He's a smart guy. He's retired Army, retired as a nurse. You know, he's smart. He said, Calvin, I listened to you when you said that. But a lot of people, they don't really listen because when they get over here, it's too good. They can't fight it off. See, you're not going to know if you're ready until you know. You're not gonna know if you can handle it until you can handle it. But
I tell you, a lot of the things that you throw out, Calvin, are true gold. It's just that they miss it or they fight you on it. One of the
well,
most
see,
powerful.
here's the guy. Here's what he doesn't understand. He said, "Man, it's sink or swim, guys. This ain't brain surgery. Come over and see if you can survive. If you can't, go home." We don't know when to go home. This is the problem, Bacala Will. You're a young guy. We're talking about guys who are 60, 70, 80 years old who come over here, man. You know, you one of those guys, you got all the answers. It's not that easy. When people are over there suffering from chronic loneliness, desperation, despair, they ready to blow their damn brains out, and you said, "Oh, it's not rocket science." You know, how many expats do you talk to on a daily basis, man? You're starting to get on my nerves, man. You coming on here giving a lot of disinformation. We're trying to help these guys. You know, it ain't no sink or swim. You know how many people's over here right now struggling and can't get home? You have no idea, man. Tell me, and then if you can't go home, how can they go home when they spent all their damn money?
It sounds more like the Western thinking there, Calvin, because
It is a Western thinking, even though he's over here, but he's a young guy. See, he doesn't know what it takes to start over at 65 years old, or when all your friends and family done died over there, and you don't have anybody left, and you know, the pandemic took everything out of you. You're suffering from what is that? Oh no. Depression and anxiety. And he says, "Oh, if it don't work, just go home." Y'all guys, y'all don't listen, man.
I think one of the best pieces of information, and I got this right away. I think a lot of people missed it though. Is you said stop converting it. It's a peso economy, and when you start realizing that people are like, "Oh, I'm just going to throw money around here." Well, look, anything that is neglected or abused leaves, including money. And when you start looking at that $10 bill more like a 550 pesos, and you realize that there's grown men going down in gold mines, risking their lives all day long for that $10 bill, you look at it differently.
Well, that's why I showed Geechee Line that 10,000 pesos per month apartment. And anybody that comes over here, I try to point them in a direction, but they're not listening. They don't care. They're going to do whatever they want to do. They don't understand. Yeah, they're older than me. They may have more money, more education, but you don't know anything about the Philippines. You got training wheels over here. I'm on a damn Harley Davidson, the biggest one they make, trying to help you. But if I say, "Hey man, look, it's 10,000 pesos apartment," but no, you want to book a hotel for 30 days, then that's on you. This is the kind of stuff they're doing. But I can't be a babysitter, Mike. I'm not gonna be a babysitter. And it's easy, for them guys to say, "Oh yeah, just go home." Really? This man was basically kidnapped by this woman the other day. I saved him because I saw right through it. I was like, "Man, get rid of them, all of them." He said, Ryan, the eating warrior, thanks for that super chat, said the U.S. will fly you home, then bill you. Let me stop right there. Okay, Ryan, you're right about that. But you know that's a process, don't you? If you call the embassy and set all that up, that takes weeks. Okay?
And then what are you flying back home to?
He said, "I have zero sympathy from foreigners that beg in the Philippines. It's insulting with the help we have stateside versus the Filipinos that don't have that luxury." See, you're exactly right. You're talking about what I'm talking about. Okay, but you got people online like me who are actually trying to help guys come over here to make the transition. They just aren't listening. They're hearing something else. They're hearing, "Oh, it's easy over there. Oh, it's cheap over there. If Calvin can do it, I can do it." They don't see all the sacrifices I'm making on the back end, all the hard work, that you have to do over here to get to a place where you're comfortable. They just think they can get right off the plane and take over the Philippines. And this is what happens. I've seen too many of them, man. I mean, young, old. They come over here, oh man, I got 30,000. I'm going to live here forever. They're back home. They can't make it. They're up in Mindoro struggling. I because of my platform, I get hundreds and hundreds of emails, messages of people who've lost their way over here. So when I make videos, you got people like Bakala Wilson, oh, it's not brain surgery. It is brain surgery for some people. You're in your right state of mind. There's people showing up over here who are not in the right state of mind. These are the people I'm talking to. These are the families I'm talking to. Stop letting these men get on these planes and come over here. Yeah, they're old enough. They're grown-ass men. But they may not make it back home. That's all I'm saying. It is brain. It is. It's not brain surgery for somebody like me and you and TJ. But for some guys, it is. You don't see the people. I just had a guy leave from my guest house. He has no idea, to be over here. He has no business trying to live over here. He's not going to make it. But who am I to tell him? I'm just trying to put the information out there. And say it's okay to come over here on a vacation. But if you think you're going to live here, man, you're not going to make it. Because you need somebody to hold your hand. And nobody's going to hold a grown-ass man's hand. That's all I'm saying. People are showing up, they're not in their right mind. I had an instance one time where the guy actually shit in my toilet and didn't flush it. Okay? And you say, well, Calvin, maybe he was in a hurry. No, he wasn't in a hurry because he closed the damn toilet seat and shut the damn bathroom window. But he's not in his right mind. You don't shit in somebody's toilet and not flush it. I don't give a damn how much of a hurry you in. You know to flush that damn toilet if you're in your right state of mind. But these are the guys who are showing up over here. Y'all think I'll just be babbling and making videos? Man, I'm trying to help people. But you get these guys on here, oh, it's not rocket science. It is for some guys showing up over here, man. Come on. It's not that easy over here. It's not that cheap over here. It's cheaper than America, but it's not that cheap. If you don't manage your money the right kind of way, you're going to run out of money. You're going to be living paycheck to paycheck over here in the Philippines like you're doing at home. You don't want to do that, but you don't want to listen. So you give the woman 10,000 pesos. That's like giving her $10,000 over there. It doesn't take that much. Okay? This is what people aren't listening to. Okay? So, I'm going to keep on talking because somebody's going to listen eventually. If they don't, they're going to keep rolling them out here.
I guess the good part is if they won't listen, then maybe I'll get the $10,000 apartment. I mean, the 10,000 peso apartment.
He said blog, not log. No, it pissed me off, man. And I'm saying, dude, how dare you take a dump in my house and not flush the toilet? You're not in your right state of mind when you do stuff like that. Okay? I don't give a damn, what it is. I've been around people long enough. I can see it. I mean, a lot of you guys are in denial. And you say, oh, well, they're grown men that let them sink or swim. No, not on my watch. Not on my watch. We need to look after each other when we come over here. I mean, I'm not going to babysit you, but if I see you going down the wrong path, I'm going to say, hold on, man, don't do that. It's crazy, man, when you do stuff like that.
A wise man is going to appreciate that, Calvin, but a fool's not going to appreciate that.
You did what?
I got for the bunty for me.
Okay, well, get it. Hey, Ryan, thanks for the super chat. He says, a fool is soon parted from his money. That's universal no matter the conversion rate. Okay, well, good. See you later. Bye. Booby. Yeah, but if you can do some things, Ryan, to hold on to your money a little bit longer, be more wiser with your spending, like stop eating out every damn day. Hey, Jay Cornelius Mack, what's going on, brother? Al Rogan says my retirement is $3,000 monthly, $200 rent. Oh, hell yeah!
Mm-hmm.
You see, that's what I'm saying. Now he says his retirement is $3,000 monthly. Is it? Do you have the whole $3,000, or do you have bills and obligations, alimony, child support, whatever it is? You paying mortgage over there? We need to start talking in terms of what's your net. What are you working with your net amount of money?
Discretion.
Not your not your gross. Hey, Mr. Passport King, thanks for your super chat. He said, thanks for the morning comedy, Cal. But on the real, these men need to hear this. Yeah, because most of the guys who come over here, they're okay. They're able to take care of themselves. But I'm seeing it because I'm here. I'm in a position where I'm seeing this kind of stuff. More and more guys are showing up, man. They have no business over here. And you say, well, Cal, you can't tell a grown man. I know I can't. But eventually, you're going to see what I'm talking about. They need chaperones. They need somebody. Yeah, they need a tour guide, but they don't need a 4,000 peso a day tour guide. Seven Tigers Media says, you're right, buddy. If I had a girlfriend, I could eat out some more. Oh, man. So you plan on cooking your own food, Mitch, when you get over here?
No, I would say not, probably.
Yeah, KW.
From what I understand,
yeah,
I would be, from what I understand, for the money that the housekeeper would cost me, she's basically going to save me that much at the market anyway. So I would
That's
be looking to find the housekeeper. And like I'm saying, I would get up in the morning, I would make my coffee, but I would be looking for her to show up. My real goal, if I could get rid of this, that would be like a big plus. So like when my housekeeper showed up, she would say, like I got fish, and look at all the vegetables we got. This is what we're going to have to eat today. And your secretary said, no worries today. And
yeah. But see, you're not going to have that, Mitch, over here. Trust me. It's going to be a little bit harder than that. It's easy, but it's not that easy. KW, just a dumb old boy from Texas. This is my buddy. He stayed in the guest house. He said, I stayed in the guest house, and it was awesome. Damn, I hope I flushed. Yeah, you flushed. But see, here's the thing. When he left, when the guy left, we had somebody else coming right in. So Merlin went over there and said, okay, I'll clean it, instead of waiting for her mother to clean it. And she said she went in the bathroom. She said she opened up the door and just was hit with just the funk that she never smelled before. And she raised the toilet seat up, and there it was. And I'm like, well, and she was sick all day yesterday, because of that. And I'm saying, when you do that kind of stuff, you're not in your right state of mind. Okay? I'm sorry. Hey, booby, what's that? And you need somebody to be looking after you. Most people who come here, they treat the guest house. I tell them, just to make yourself at home. It is your home. But hell, have the decency enough to flush the damn toilet, man. Don't leave my toilet full of your shit, I
I flush
mean,
it.
it's crazy.
We flush here. I said we flush here, so we flush when we go other places too.
That's right. Hey, Mopar, thanks for that super chase. It's very nice and brotherly of you to help save someone from themselves. I'm definitely taking notes on watching these guys making mistakes. They look like a deer caught in headlights that freeze because we think we're ready. So now the next trip, they'll probably do a lot better. But it looks a lot easier when you're sitting. Look at that big comfortable seat that Mitch is in over there. He's looking like, oh man, the Philippines is nothing. I can handle it. Them little girls, I just give them a few pesos and I got them wrapped around my hand. It's not that easy. Then you get over here and they start doing all kinds of stuff that no woman in America would ever even think of doing for you.
Yeah, I know it's going to be some challenges with the weather and things like that I'm not used to. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to say I'm moving to the Philippines. I've never been there. That would just be that would make me look like, I rode the short bus to school.
Happy Man, the short bus. Yeah, Happy Man 6920. Thanks for that super sticker. Let's see who this is. Oh, you dirty puppy. What's up, man? He says, thanks for the super chat. He said, we'll be in time in for Thanksgiving and Christmas this year. For a long time, I wanted to serve you hot beef. Oh, man. Now, I'm looking forward to that. Daddy. What, Booby? It says, Cal. Wait, come on, guys. No, he said, Cal, the guy's 350 pounds with diabetes. Tell him to stay home. No, we can't tell people to stay home.
I reversed my diabetes, by the way. I reversed my diabetes.
Yeah. It's going to be, he's going to have to stay at a hotel next time. Sometimes you got to just put your foot down, man. You try to be nice, but that's something that I can't tolerate. But somebody in their right man wouldn't do that. Okay? I'm sorry. He says, why does Mitch talk about the weather when Calvin is talking about the women? Is he really listening? I think he is because Mitch is an insurance agent, so I know he's a good listener. What are you doing, Booby? Is that your Halloween He said, who's the bathroom culprit? Was it Doomageddon Doo-Doo Freddy? No, I'm just saying, it's just, I don't know. I was angry, Geechee Dan says, them little 20-year-olds going to look Mitch right in the eyes, and as soon as he climaxes, she going to say, I love you, and Mitch going to melt just like Frosty. That's usually how it works, though, because we think we can handle it.
I've actually, I'm not new to dating. I've had lots and lots of. I've had more than my share. So don't let the exterior fool you.
That's right, but it's a little bit different over here, man. I'm gonna tell you, it's just a little bit different. We think that we can handle these little women.
I hope it's a lot different.
Yeah, it is when it comes to these women, because I'm gonna tell you, man.
It's just been my experience here in America. Here in America, it's been my experience that no matter how much you give, it's just not enough. That's been my experience.
Oliver Freeman says, hey, Calvin, if most guys would listen to hear and hear to understand, then their lives would be more productive. I have listened and applied many of the principles you have shared, and they work. Yeah, but see, here's what I'm going to say, Oliver, and I'm glad I saw you the other day. I put a face to a name. I was coming out of Tip Top. I was going to breakfast, and I saw Oliver. He was in the tricycle with his girlfriend. But I'm not an expert, see, and I think this is where guys get turned off. They think I'm preaching to them. I'm not. I'm just sharing with them my experiences. Every vlog I do, it has a lot to do with what I've experienced over here. Either what I'm seeing, what I'm living, or what I'm experiencing. I don't make up stuff. I don't do vlogs on something that I've never experienced before. And I think it's just my delivery. They think, oh, you can't tell me what to do, man. You sound like a drill sergeant. But that's really not my intention, but they take it the wrong way. So they say, oh, I'm going to come over here. I can handle it. I'm going to do what I want to do. And most guys end up okay, but it's the guys who don't do okay. That's who I'm worried about, because nobody comes over here to get their life turned upside down. And you get guys, they got money, they got more education and everything, they're older than me, and they get taken advantage of. And you see it right there. They dealing with married women. You say, hey, look, man, don't deal with these married women over here. There's millions of women over here. You don't have to settle for that. They do it anyway. They just don't know anything about the women that they've committed to. When I'm talking about committed, I'm talking about they committed their time, their money, their lives to. They just don't know who they laying next to. And it's really none of my business. I don't get involved in that stuff. I don't say, hey, man, she used to be a bar girl. She's a lesbian. Or she's married. And her husband is on drugs, and he may cut your damn head off if he ever catches you over here. See, I'm not going to do that. But I can do it in a general way. I can say, hey, man, once you find out a woman is married, man, you certainly don't want to buy her a house. Heidi. Is it Heidi or Hattie? Says, hey, Shan, a lot of your advice is applicable in the U.S. My life has improved since I've been watching the transition to the Philippines start here and now. I just want to say that it's easy, but it's not as easy as what some of us make it look. And I think that's the impression that these guys are getting. The 18 to 80, I'm talking about the Filipinos. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about their desperation. If you're 18 to 80, blind, crippled, or crazy, there's going to be someone to love you over here. Okay? That's the complete sentence. Okay? Don't just say 18 to 80. No, and blind, crippled, and crazy. There's somebody over here going to love you. Okay? I'm not saying if you're 18 to 80, just come on over here and your life is going to be good. Because a lot of times it's not. They're over here, they can't hear, they can't see, they're in wheelchairs, they've got health problems. And you say, hey, man, this is what I'm talking about, when to come to the Philippines. You'll know when your money's right, when your health is right.
Yeah.
That's when to come.
I could come right now.
Yeah.
I could come right now, but but I would have a problem waiting on me when I get back. I don't want that. So I'm trying to get like all my ducks in a row.
Yeah.
They don't have to all be in a row, but majority of them have to be in a row.
Then when to stay? Do you have a recurring income? Do you have enough money over here? Do you know enough about the people and the culture that you feel comfortable enough to stay here? Or when to go? Hey, it didn't work out for me. Maybe I can just live here 3 months out of the year and live the rest of the months at home. Or 6 months here, 6 months there. But a lot of us don't know when to say when. We just show up over here. We sold everything. We do everything. We've given up. We burned all the bridges. Some of us sneak over here. We don't even tell our families and friends that we're over here. Al Rogan said the husband could blackmail you and have you arrested if you don't pay. Well, they're more likely going to get her in trouble, not you.
Or just kill you.
Yeah, more likely um, they're going to get her in trouble, not you. How would you know she was married? Now, the husband could come in if he ever catches you in the act, which that would be so hard to do. I mean, if she's from the province in Davao, then you say, hey, meet me in Davao City. Hell, he's not going to, it's a long way. He's not going to be able to make it there. Or Manila or somewhere like that. Let's see. Jim Alner says, my Filipino wife says if you are 350 pounds and you're on diabetic medication, good luck on finding the medication. Medical care in the Philippines is very expensive, except for doctor visits. But you're not on medication anymore, are you, Mitch?
I am on some medications. And that is one of my concerns is, are they going to be available? Are they going to, and how much will they be? They'll probably be a lot cheaper over there. So yeah, I mean, I'm reducing. I'm on a fraction of what I started with. The heart doctor told me I never would be, and I told him, I said, look, man, don't feel bad. Like, I know probably you've had 1 million people tell you they're going to lose weight, and they didn't. So I get it. I said, but it's pretty hard to argue with my scale now, isn't it? And so they just see the determination. They said, they told me, they said, we don't know what you're doing, but you need to keep doing it.
Yeah, but see, you don't have to live here 100% of the time. There's no blueprint.
That's right.
For the Philippines. I mean, that's something I tell guys all the time. Who says you have to live here 100% of the time? You don't have to do it because you see other people doing it. Right. You have to get in where you fit in. Okay, if I'm on some type of special medication that I know that I can only get 3 months at a time, because usually they'll prescribe it 3 months at a time, right?
Yep.
Then that's all I'm gonna be over here for is 3 months. When my medication is gone, I'm going back home. I'm not gonna try to make it work over here for 1 whole year. Right. And then I'm gonna be without my medication or my special treatment or whatever it is. That's right. This is what I'm saying. When to come, when to stay, when to go home.
I think if I could just like escape, because here in North Carolina we have ice storms. And in fact, on my birthday, January 23rd, I was born in a major snowstorm. So my 50th birthday, the whole state got shut down. So if I could pick like a time, like mid-January, and get out of here before it comes and stay, a month or so until the bad weather leaves, I mean, that's going to be a good break for me.
Yeah, exactly. I've got a friend who does just that. He comes here 3 months out of the year in the winter. Then he goes back home. He doesn't want to live here 100% of the time.
Right.
But he does come here for that winter break. That's all he does. He doesn't live here 100% of the time. Chris Rideout says, they say meds are cheap in Thailand. Yeah, Thailand's different now. As a matter of fact, I did some research, and it showed the #1 rated hospital on the planet, believe it or not, is in Thailand. Whatever that means, I don't know. Like I said, a lot of you guys, you're not looking for healthcare insurance. You're looking for a miracle, because you show up with, a 90% blockage. You can have the best insurance in the world. It's not going to help you. That's what most of us, we're looking for a miracle. You're not looking for healthcare insurance because you're not going to use it. Geechee Dan says, I'm thinking Mitch can just go to Thailand for medical care, but he can actually go to Guam. Guam is a United States territory. So if you got Medicare, you got private insurance, don't give it up. Go to Guam if you're going to try to make it work 100% of the time in the Philippines. You don't have to go to Thailand. Go to Guam. They take your Medicare. They take your Blue Cross Blue Shield and your Humana and all that.
I help people with their Medicare. I don't have Medicare.
Yeah. Now, are you a veteran, Mitch?
No.
No. So yeah, Neil Davis, he doesn't qualify for the VA over here. And if you do, you can't just show up there. My buddy JR in Asia came and visited me, and he thought he could do it. And luckily he came, and I told him, I said, no, man, you got to make an appointment. He was able to make an appointment before he left. They took him in. Let's see, Jim Alner says, how are you going to handle the plane ride about 20 hours long and usually a couple of layovers with a 12-hour difference in time? Yeah, that kicks everybody's butt. I don't care how good of a shape you're in. You're going to get your head handed to you, Jim. This is why I suggest to guys, you don't have to do it because your adrenaline's going to be flowing. I say, hey, man, when you come here, you need to stop because you're not going to feel tired, but eventually it's going to kick your butt. I say, go ahead and stop for the first couple of days. Just stay around the hotel.
Yeah.
You know, because if not, it's going to catch you. It's going to catch up with you.
And some of the places, at least the travel agents that I've spoken with, like the Philippines, I don't have fear of the Philippines, but I gotta say when they start talking about like going to South Korea for a layover or what is it, Thailand is having some issues right now. I mean, not Thailand. What's the little island?
Hong Kong,
Taiwan. Taiwan's having some problems, pressures right now. So some of those places, like I don't know, like those places are where I'm a little bit more worried about where I would lay over than I would where I'm going.
Yeah, but I think Geechee Land flew in through Taiwan. He didn't have any problems. And right now, there's not. We'll see where this Israel thing is going to go, but I don't think it's going to affect any flights over here. But right now, you don't have any problems coming here. I haven't talked to anybody who's had any problems.
Okay.
Sammy Davis said, Mitch, you can get most meds here, but I'm not sure they're the same strength as you need. Bring it up with you to last during your stay. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. See, in the United States, because I was in Medicare too, Medicare sales. Usually the doctor will give you a 90-day prescription. Mm-hmm. That's it. You're not going to get any more than that.
From what I understand, I'll need a letter explaining why the doctors are giving me the medicine. So let's just say I have 5 medicines. I would need probably 5 letters. Because of the way the Philippines loves paperwork. So I'm thinking, okay, probably need an individual letter for each medicine, and all my medicines could be filled 90 days. So yeah, that would be a good plan.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm coming over here, I'm going to get that 90-day prescription. Then I'm coming. I got my 90-day prescription. I don't need to deal with the doctors over here because just what you're talking about. If you're coming over here and you see a local doctor and you need a prescription for something, yeah, you probably need to bring your prescription bottle with you and probably a letter from the doctor saying, hey, he's been on this medication and why he's on it.
So when you traveled into the airport, did you have any medication with you? Because I was under the impression when I came across the information, it was more like an entry just like you would have to declare money if you have more than.
I'm not on any prescriptions. I'm not in prescriptions, but I know that as long as they're in the right bottle,
okay,
you're not gonna have any problems.
Okay.
I mean, you don't want oxycodone in a damn Tylenol bottle. Then you're gonna have some problems.
Right.
He says, man, after listening to this, I'm scared to leave my room now. I wouldn't be. We're just saying that some guys who come over, we're not saying everybody. There's some guys showing up over here who probably need, a chaperone, who needs somebody to hold their hand, who shouldn't be traveling by themselves. They've got health issues. They got mental problems.
Yeah. Back in
But
March.
because they're grown, we can't stop them. We can just give them suggestions and, advise them like, hey, if your family member is trying to come over here because he's watching, Sunshine Shoulders, that's probably not enough reason to come to the Philippines. There was no Sunshine Shoulders when I came in 2009. I made all the mistakes that I'm talking about. I could have flew in. I'm going to tell you how stupid I was. I could have flew into Tawi-Tawi or Baziland. All I knew about the Philippines. I knew nothing about this place. I wouldn't suggest anybody do that. It's too much information out here now. But here's the problem. Most of you people watching me right now, you want to be entertained. You don't want to be informed. That's why all these old crazy channels get all the views. The channels who are giving you information, you don't watch. The best videos you don't watch. You want to talk about, what's it like to date a single mom? It's the same way as dating a single mom over there. You're going to be taking care of somebody else's child. It's going to cost you got to take care of her and the child. I mean, what more about dealing with a single mom do you need to know? But that's what y'all want. Y'all want to be entertained. When somebody's trying to inform you and give you some good information, you don't watch it. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing. Okay. Hey, Andre92, he says, I just got back from the Philippines 3 weeks ago and was laid over in Taiwan for 9 hours. It actually wasn't that bad. Nice people and good food. Thanks for that super chat, Andre. Yeah, I haven't had any problems with Taiwan. I don't watch the news over in America because if you do, you think that China's getting ready to invade Taiwan. They're not, Mitch, okay? Not yet. You don't have anything to worry about.
Okay.
He said, hey, maybe No Neck Ed could be his guy. Okay, take care, Barry. Fireblazer said, my girlfriend said I need a 90-day prescription of money. She will kill me herself. Crazy.
Back in
yeah,
March.
well, see, the demands are getting bigger because they know that we're more desperate now than we were before. Man, guys used to come over here and literally be the boss. Now, man, guys are walking on eggshells over here, man. I've seen the difference. It's a big difference now, man. I can't believe it. They're being pulled around by these little women over here who literally have nothing, but because, you haven't had a woman's touch in so long, or nobody showed attention in you in so long, certainly haven't had sex, and remember, they're going to do everything that you could dream of having done to you over here. And you get henpecked. And that's the worst thing you can do. Pussy whipped and henpecked. Clint Dow says, I bring 3 months of my script, but I can get my blood pressure meds over the counter in the Philippines. Wow. I guess it would depend on what medications you're taking. Now, you on insulin or just metformin or something, Mitch? If you don't mind, I know that's a crazy question.
I don't need one of those. I reversed my diabetes.
Okay, yeah. And that's one thing I like about the Philippines over here. They'll do a lot of that old natural remedies. They got a lot of natural remedies over here that work. I told y'all when my knees swelled up from playing all them games of tennis, we didn't go to the doctor and get a peel. Marilyn and her mother, they would take turns going out, getting some type of leaf off the tree, wrapping it around my damn knee.
My friend Andy does that.
Yeah. Luca says, what about coming to the Philippines for a vacation, honeymoon, or similar? Yeah, see, that's a good idea. A lot of Europeans do that. That's the difference between Europeans. I'm not talking about Australians because Australians, they're so close to the Philippines. But you'll see people from Africa, Europe, they bring their wife and kids over here. The only time you're gonna see an American man with his wife and children is if he's working here. We're not gonna do it. We're coming over here looking for a wife. But if you go to Sicky Hall and different places like that, you'll see a whole family over here.
But back in March, I won a trip. One of my agencies that I do some of my retirement work through flew me to Minnesota, and so I used that as a little bit of a gauge because I hadn't flown since about 2014, 2013, 2014. I was flying a lot my work, and so yeah, I got some things that I believe will help me on my longer trip. I think some of these shorter trips, the test runs, things like that, they help.
Yeah, now he's a friend now. He started out as a subscriber. He said that he actually was going to retire in Taiwan. He said, but Calvin, the immigration is not as lenient as it is in the Philippines. He said, I didn't want to have to pack up and do these visa runs. And I don't know if he looked into a retirement visa or not over there. He didn't say, but he said that was the reason he didn't retire there. He said because the cost of living. He said the people are nice. He said the food is unbelievable. He said, but he didn't want to deal with that immigration situation of, doing those visa runs. So he said he came to the Philippines. He lives up in Laguna now. Cedric Duber says, Brother Calvin, it takes a strong man to handle the Philippines. Not just the women, but just adjusting to the difference of life from where they came from. But they won't listen to me. They're hearing something else. They're saying, well, how can you just come over here? They don't understand. It's easy, but it's really not as easy as what some of us make it seem. You got to, man. I did a video, man. I was like, is it worth it? Do you really know what you're getting yourself into? There's a trade-off. And if you can, then fine. But if you can't, then you got to know when to say when it's time to go. A lot of guys, they'll come over here and they'll stay as long as they can. Then they'll take a break and go back home. I know Michael Beach of Life wrote me the other day. He said, Calvin, have you ever had a day where nothing seems to go right and you're thinking to yourself, why in the world am I over in this fucked up country, right? This is what Michael Beach of Life said to me. And I said, man, you preaching to the choir. I go through that about every 6 months. It's not some piece of cake over here, man. I just went and got a box from a guy sent me a box. He sent it to me for my walk. It's got, a hat and glasses and stuff, right? I go to pick it up and they want 7,000 pesos to customs. Hell, and he said all the stuff added up together didn't cost that much. But, you're ready to blow your top, but then you say, nah, I better just go and walk away. That happens about every 6 months over here for me. And I've been here on and off for 14 years. It's not easy, man. But I can handle it because I've handled a whole lot worse than this. But some guys, they grew up with a silver spoon in their mouth. Remember, I told you, you got officers and you got grunts. The grunts don't have no problem. It's the officers over here that have the problem. They don't want to use the CR outside and all of that. They don't want to eat with their hands when they have to and all that stuff like that. They don't want to go to the province, and eat the native chicken soup that the lady made on the dirty kitchen out back where they make the fire with the coconut shells. They can't do that, Mitch. And if you can't do that, some guys just come over here and they live in Cebu in those big high rises and that's it. That's their life. You might as well be living at home, man, if you're going to do that.
I've only seen two things that I really don't want to eat, but I won't say that I won't, but pock pock. I don't want any pock pock.
Yeah.
Or balut. I don't want no balut.
Yeah,
Other than that,
you see,
I'm
yeah,
open to it, man. I got a buddy up in the north in Luzon. About 2 years ago, he said, "Man, that dog sure was good." And I said, "Oh, you ate a dog, did you?" And he said, "Well," he said, "You would like it. It's a lot like goat." And I said, "Well, ha ha, I've never ate goat." He said, "Ha ha, grown man ain't never ate dog."
yeah. Well, see, that's now. Does that happen over here? Okay, I've been over. You can imagine, I've met thousands and thousands of Filipinos. I've only met one man who told me that he's eaten a dog before, and guess what? He killed our dog down in Zamboanga and ate it. But he was drunk, and you know they used it for I forgot what they call it, pollutant, which is like the a delicatessen when they're drinking. But when I asked him about it, he said, "Yeah, up in the mountains, some people eat dogs." He said because it keeps their bodies warm, because it's colder up there. But the that's not part of the culture over here, guys. It's not
Right.
eating dogs.
Most
It's just not.
most of the time they'll eat birds. Uh, he'll hunt with an air gun or a 22, and he'll send me pictures of, on a good day maybe he'll get, gosh, some of them maybe eight or nine birds, and he'll actually have some to give to the neighbors. And then other days it may be three birds. But he's basically he's a farmer, and he's a preacher friend of mine. And he basically, if he lived somewhere where people would go to, like hunt, like people go to Africa to hunt, on these special hunts. If he lived somewhere like that, he could do that for a living. But people don't really go to the north part of the Philippines to go hunting, right? So,
Well, you got to be careful. You don't know if it's legal or not. Even guys who always ask me about fishing.
yeah,
I don't know if it's legal for you to come over here and fish like that. I mean,
yeah,
I would talk to the barangay or
yeah,
something like that, because a lot of times we've already crossed the land before we even know where the land is.
yeah.
But
Like,
he said,
over there, like over there, they can hunt with like tape recordings of like animals, which here they would put you under the jail for doing. So the rules are very different. You better know what you're doing before you go do it.
California World Travel said, "Do you think it was a good idea building a guest house after what they did to your toilet?" Yeah, because everybody that goes over there, most people who stay in the guest house, they're just outstanding people. Every now and then it's just like a hotel. I guess if you ask a hotel worker some of the crazy stuff they've seen, in their years of working there, it's no different than that. But it just goes to show you what I'm talking about, that some people, they're not really in their right state of mind. They're just wandering around over here. They've been watching these videos for 3 years or whatever it is, and they show up over here. They have no plan, really. They have no clue what they're going to do. What I hope for this gentleman is that he meets an older woman who literally takes care of him like a baby. Because one day he's a baby, then the next day he's like he's 100 years old. So I'm hoping that he meets one of these older women that will literally just take care of him. Because that's what he's going to need. If he cannot live by himself, he can live in a hotel because, hell, they're going to clean up the room eventually. Andrew Hunter says, "I think in the Philippines it's important the wife family know what your wife will always represent your interests over there. Everything must be transparent and open." Yeah, I mean, that's the best case scenario. And usually, if you've got a good woman, that's what's going to happen. I don't want anybody doing anything behind my back. That's why I encourage guys, hey, if your wife wants to help her family, let her help her, because let her help them because she's going to do it anyway. You don't want her doing it behind your back because they're going to do it. They're going to help their families. He said he ate it. Now, John tried to bring it to me, but usually they sell balut at night as it's starting to get night. And it's hot. You know, it's warm. Usually when they serve it to you and you're drinking. Okay. Now
I don't drink, so I know I'm going to be in a clear mind and not eat no egg.
yeah. I don't either because me and Marilyn, y'all seen, I got a short on my channel. Marilyn, I said, Marilyn, let me see what that balut looks like. So she unpeeled it. The damn duck was 4 or 5 inches long. I'm like, no, I couldn't eat that. I don't care how drunk I would have been.
Yeah, I ain't eating.
I can't. Okay, well, Al, you know, Americans used to eat horse. There's not too long did they ban horse meat in America. There's still horse slaughtering places in America.
One of our grocery stores had been accused of mixing it in with the beef. I don't care.
Yeah, he said not all Filipinos eat balut. Well, you know, I know most of them that I've met. Every woman I've ever dealt with, she ate balut. But it's just a cultural thing. It's just like some of the people that I know, when they talk about chitlins, they don't eat chitlins. They're like, I'm not eating them things. They stink bad, and you know, but I eat them. But I'm saying some people, it's almost like that. Because, you know, you think about what are you eating? You're eating the damn pig intestines. That's why you got to clean them real good. And that's why they stink.
I tried. You know, I went to a restaurant one time and they had them, and I asked the woman about it. They had them fried and boiled, and she said, I'll bring you a sample. So she brought me a boiled one, and I thought I was eating a condom. Is what it was. It was like eating a condom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's not that bad. They must not have cooked them right, because usually when my mother would cook them, they'd be tender. You know, the key is cleaning them properly, but they stink.
If it would have been fried, I might have liked it. I don't know.
Well, they eat chitlins over here. They just cook them differently. Because when you slaughter that hog, if you do it at home, they keep all the intestines. They keep all the insides. Now, when you come over here and you buy a lechon for a birthday party or something like that, they take out all the insides. But when you do it at home, you have all of that, man. It's so much food that they make out of that. You could just buy one pig and that's it. You know, you really don't have to do anything else. But most of the time, when you buy the lechon, well, 100% of the time, all that inside is taken out. But I think it was Pumpkin Joe or his wife's birthday, they had chitlins, but it was made differently. I liked them. I liked it, whatever it was. But it was chitlins. S1 Philly Vibe said, hey, Cal, I was bus traveling in the Philippines and I was smoking and I had to go to a designated spot outside, although I was outside. No smoking around the bus depot. Yeah, the Philippines is really a no smoking country now. You got to go to certain designated areas. I don't smoke anymore. Farblazer says, is it warm because it's ready to hatch? No, it's just, you know, that's how they eat them. I guess it's like a boiled egg. I don't want to eat a cold boiled egg. He says, Chef Kevin from Kentucky, he visited me in Sikihor. He says, I ate balut and marble. It's good. It's a textural food. You know, that's why they don't look at it. They just bite it and eat it. Because if you look at it, you're not going to eat it. A grumpy dude, Brad, says it's a pipe dream to think Mayasawa's family will volunteer to have a foreigner's best interest. Family blood before marriage matters most in Filipino culture. Andrew Hunter said, yes, even the good women that look after us have a constant battle they hide from us. What we see of the family is all nice and friendly, but in many cases, the wives have to deal with constant pressure. Well, probably monetary. You know, when you're dealing with the struggle that they deal with over here, and they end up marrying a foreigner. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. You know, they're saying, hey, you need to share your blessings. Okay. And they're not going to ask, they're going to ask your wife, hey, can I borrow money? They ask Maryland all the time, knowing Maryland don't have any money. Okay. But Maryland is telling me, you know, I don't have any money. That's Calvin's money, right? But that's where the pressure is coming from. It's usually money like that. But since we're dealing with the breadwinner, 99% of us do. They're the smart ones. They're the ambitious ones. They're the ones who speak the best English. And you make her quit a job, which we do, or she doesn't have a job at all. You're going to share your blessings. You know, it's just up to you. It doesn't mean go broke. He says it's about her kids, not us. Yeah. I mean, there's a game being played over here. And as long as you understand that, you're not going to have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it. You can't get something for nothing. I mean, you got to come over here and live the best life you possibly can. If giving my woman a few thousand pesos a month is part of that process, then I'm going to do it. But it's not going to be millions. I never even thought of building a house. And you can ask Marilyn, she's in there, until Booby was born. If Booby wasn't born, I'd still be over there paying 8,500 pesos a month for that nice big 2-bedroom apartment or house. Okay, with $4,000 for the electric and another 300 for the water. I mean, it's just, you know, it's just simple math. But because I know Booby is going to grow up here, it's very important that she have a house. When you get over here, you're going to see the structures that a lot of these people live in. And you're going to say, well, I don't want my daughter growing up in that type of structure. I'm not putting them down, but I'm saying, you know, that's when you bring your Western thinking here. That's when you use it. So, yeah, if you're not financially responsible, if this isn't common sense, I don't know what to tell you. If you're not financially responsible for a woman over here, meaning you're not married, you don't have children with her, why in the world are you building a house? Why are you buying a house? Why are you buying a lot? Why are you doing any of that?
Well, heck, Calvin, I ain't even got a girlfriend. They already assigned to me one.
Yeah, well, if you come over here, you're probably going to have one.
Oh, I probably am, but I'm just saying, like, you know, in America, everybody thinks money's everything, and it ain't. It's just an idea. And I like women as much as the next guy, right? But it ain't everything. I mean, it ain't the whole world. Yeah, I want a community around me. I want I'm not looking for just one Filipina. I'm looking for a new life. If you was going to design a new life, would you just have one person in it? Or would you have a whole bunch of people in a community? Like, see, I think that's what Calvin has done.
But see, here's what you're saying. Here's what you don't understand over here. You that's Western thinking, Mitch. Okay. Now in the Philippines, they're a family-oriented country, right?
Right.
It is a lot of people around them, but you are the foreigner. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're from Korea, Japan, America, Australia. We're all lumped into one basket, and we're always really kept on the outside. You're always going to be on
Right.
the outside, man. You have to know that. So if you do have a lot of people around you, man, you got to be real skeptical of that. You don't want a lot of people around you here because you don't know what their interests are. You don't know what their motives are.
Right.
See, so yeah, you know, you're talking about if you do have some people around you, that's what the expats are for.
Right.
Because you're not going to understand Filipinos and they're not going to understand you for real. The only one that's going to be close to you is that woman because you're sleeping with her every night. You know, y'all are, you know, together all the time. Eventually, you're going to create a bond, some type of understanding. But to have a lot of people around, just it's not going to happen. You know, most of the time when I'm here, even if I wanted Filipino friends, they're at work right now. See, there's not anybody I can hang out with right now. They're all at work.
Okay.
And then when they get off, man, they're tired. They going straight home.
Same thing I run into here.
So you're gonna, you know, that's what the meet and greets are for. That's where you go out to these social clubs and things that they have over here. Because people say, "Well, I don't want to be around expats." You're saying that now, but once you be over here for a long time, man, you're gonna be starving for somebody to talk to, somebody to connect to.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are, because you just have just a minimal connection, really. Even with the woman that you with, been with Marilyn for 4.5 years. We don't have any deep conversations about what. What could we possibly talk about other than booby, other than what's going on in the household? That's it.
Right.
You know.
And I think the YouTube channel that's filled in a gap there for you. You know, you've created a way to have these conversations on a regular basis, even
Well,
between.
it's always been that way with me. I've always sought out other expats, man, you know, because I made that connection a long time ago. This isn't my first time around, Mitch. You know, I said, well, hell, you know, because Filipinos can speak English, Mitch, but they don't speak English. They speak their own language. Do you blame them? You don't speak Spanish over there, do you? You speak English, right? So
I understand.
99% of the time, they're going to be speaking their language and you can't understand it.
Yeah.
You're just going to be sitting in the middle of the room and everybody's going to be talking their language. That's the price you pay for coming over here. So then if I see Mitch at the mall, hey, Mitch, what's up, man? You know, where you from? I saw a guy at the gym last night. You know, I could tell, you know, he gravitated toward me. We started talking, you know, because he's been here, he's only been here since September. He's already starving for conversation.
Maybe I'll move near you.
But wherever you move, it's going to be expats. You go to the mall, you're going to run into them.
Yeah.
Timothy Bright says the True still have their channel, Calvin. I remember they was at one of your meet and greets. They do. They just haven't grown it as well as they could have. They're going after, they know that we're desperate. They know that y'all are desperate, rather. And so they do those stupid live streams. That's it, because they know you're sending money in and all the things like that, you know. See, this is what they know. They're going to pretend that they're single and they don't have anybody, and they give you, you know, and like you have a chance to be with one of them, which is what most Filipino vloggers do, except the ones that, you know, have their boyfriend has a channel too, and you know that she's got a boyfriend. Most of them pretend to be single. They're not single over here, man. They're not single over here. Because they're women like everybody else. They want to be loved and appreciated too. Andrew Hunter said, problem with the expats, they always talk about what they earn, how successful they are, how big their house is, and the pension. Well, it's like anything else, Andrew, over here. You're going to eventually gravitate toward people that you have a lot in common with. Every time I have a meet and greet, two expats who never knew each other before make a connection. That's why it's so important. I'm thinking about, Merlin was like, people aren't coming to the meet and greets anymore. I said, yeah, because they're not free. I said, maybe I need to go back to the old formula I had where I'm paying for everything. And hell, they'll show up from Timbuktu. But when they have to buy their own meal, they won't show up.
That's sad.
Which is crazy. But it's not the same one. I got the idea from the expats in Dumageddon. They do a great job. When those guys that's why when people talk about Dumageddon expats, I say, man, y'all wrong. They got a tight-knit group down there. If they have a meet and greet, man, it'd be 100 people there or more, and their girlfriends. It'd be a big, everybody, you can't hear yourself think. Everybody's in the conversation, meeting each other and stuff like that. I got that idea from them because what they're doing, they're giving back to the community. They'll have it at ground zero, and hell, ground zero will be as busy as they've ever been. It's like their Christmas. And that's what I was, that's what I was trying to do. People don't really appreciate that. It's like, oh, I ain't going to the meet and greet. I don't want to go around a bunch of forums or whatever it is. And you eventually regret it, man. Because even the people, okay, like I've got a group of guys in Cebu. They all met at my meet and greet. And they all hang out together with each other now, like a family. But some people don't think that's important. It's very important when you get over here and you're talking about living over here, you're going to need somebody to talk to. Well, he says he doesn't know. When are you coming, Mitch?
I don't have a specific date right now. I would like to come this January, but I have some more things that I really need to get in place. So we'll see.
Now this would have came in handy for that walk, but I just got the package. The Bengay, you can't get that here, I don't think. You probably can at one of them fancy stores in Cebu. But he sent me all kinds of stuff.
I think once I get another 60 pounds off of me, a lot of my medicines, I have one medicine, they have to test my blood thickness every so often, and it has to stay within a certain range. And that particular medicine is a lot of trouble, but it's the safest one in the group.
Yeah.
To take. And I'm all about the safety because I had a blood thinner is what killed my mother, and because they gave an 89-year-old woman a blood thinner that had not been tested in old people or obese people, which my mother was not obese, but she was 89 years old. And by the time discovered the internal bleeding, it was too late. She just couldn't get over it. It took several months, for it to really happen. But so that's why I chose the medicine. And so once I get my weight down, that will stabilize a lot more. And
this is the win. This is the win I'm talking about. Yeah. See, you're exactly right what you're talking about.
Yeah.
See, no win to say when to come. It's not a good time for you to come right now.
That's right.
But some guys don't know that. They say, oh, I got the passport, I got the money, I'm going. They're not thinking about anything else till they get over here, and it's too late. You're here now. But 53 Shades Darker says, Cal, I think the best one was in San Carlos, total classic one. Yeah, but that's the one where I was paying for everything. People will show up, okay? But if you have one at a place where they know they're going to have to pay for their own meal, they won't show up, man. It's like, because I had a memory come across my Facebook yesterday of that meet and greet you're talking about, 53 Shades Darker. And that's when Marilyn said, you probably need to start having meet and greets there again, because that's when it looked like it was more fun. More people were showing up. I said, yeah, because they know everything is free. They don't have to pay for anything. They just have to get there. But let's see. Let me see what he was talking about. It's me and Roger. Where it was? Right here. Wait. Timothy. I think Timothy said, well, we seen them at the store yesterday. You know, they act like they don't know me. You know, which is so crazy. It's the craziest thing in the world. If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't even have a channel. But they act like they don't know me. They're so way up here now, and it just shocks me. It hurts me, really. I'm like, wow. You know, I mean, she's right in front of us in the grocery store in line. And she acts like she don't see us. Like we don't, you know, even before then, I've seen them several times. They never speak. Roger will every now and then, but his wife, no. But that's on them, man. If that's what they want to do, it's on them. But it just goes to show you we're foreigners. No matter what you do, Mitch, you're always going to be on the outside.
Right.
So just keep that in mind. But I'm going to give you the last word, Mitch, because we get ready to get off of here. I want to thank you, man, for your time, because I know it's getting late there on the East Coast. But just leave us with a little something, you know, what you do, you know, how you can help people, whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I would like to say thank you for having me on. When I started watching you, I never dreamed I would actually, you know, be invited to come on the channel, but I've learned a tremendous amount from you and the real nitty gritty. And so if I would just like to say, if you're out there and whether you're either entering, you know, you're starting to implement your retirement, you got to figure out about your Medicare. I've got tools where I can type in your zip code. I can pull up all the plans. I can, I can give you all the information you'd ever want. And all the companies pay me the same. So there's no incentive for me to put you one place or the other, stuff like that. But I also, in fact, I put a link in there. You can also find me on my little quiz that if you'll sit there and fill out, it takes like a minute. It's 12 questions. It'll give me some idea about your retirement. And so if you're younger and you're interested in doing something where you're building up and you can have tax-free retirement, very strong. Everything I deal with is no loss. In 20 years, nobody's ever lost a penny doing business with Mitch Brewer. So you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on the LinkedIn. You can leave a message through my YouTube account. I'll have my assistant start checking that. We'll start checking that on a regular basis or whatever. I can give you my email. It's the number one Brewer, BREWERM, as in Mitch, onebrewerm@gmail.com. But I'm probably not going to see it. I mean, there's just so many emails that flood in there every day, unless you put something like, friend of Sunshine Shoulders or something like that, where I would maybe do a search under Sunshine Shoulders and it would come up. But reach out to me. My consultations are free. I've got 21 years experience, and I would just love to help you. I understand that my challenge to the Philippines is a great one, and it could happen that I never actually fulfill that. So helping you do it may be as close as I ever get. I'm aware of that, and I'm just all about helping people.
But thank you. Grumpy Duke Grant said, Calvin, you said you had to pay custom $7,000 in fees for that box. Was it sent Ballot-Buying? No, it was sent post office. And that's why I tell you guys, Ballot-Buying is the best way to do it. It's the cheapest way. And then the woman doesn't have to, because a lot of us are sending boxes to women. Now for woman, if he'd have sent that box to a Filipino woman, she wouldn't have been able to pay for it. He would have had to send the money for her to pay for the custom fee. So it's best to just go ahead and send it Ballot-Buying. Excuse me. It's going to take 2 or 3 months, but it's okay. they're very patient over here. They're not going anywhere anyway. And then when they do get the box, it's like Christmas. That's the way to do it. Don't send anything post office, because I don't care what you send. It's always going to be a custom fee on the other end when it comes to that post office. Now, the lady today said, well, you can have them put gift on there, and, you know, it'll be very, the custom fees will be negligible, you know, mean very small. But because he had a certain amount on there, they put the custom fee on there, and then they put the 12% VAT tax on there. That's why it came to 7,026 pesos, you know, but I appreciate him sending the package. That's why I paid the 7,000. I wasn't going to let it go back when he went through all that trouble to go shopping and buy the stuff. It's the thought that counts. But yeah, for future reference, any of you guys sending something over here to a woman, just send it bang. But thank y'all so much for your super chat, your super stickers, and your thumbs up, man. All your support for Sunshine Shows, I never take it for granted. Frank Ellis said Filipino bloggers get paid in pesos, right, Cal? No, they probably get paid in dollars because YouTube is an American company. Mm-hmm. Okay, now they'll probably get it converted. They could convert it to pesos, but I'm not really sure how that works. But it's the same YouTube I'm dealing with, Google. I don't think they have a Philippine branch or something. Maybe they do. I'm very naive when it comes to YouTube. I'm very naive, really, to be honest. But take care, everybody. Stay safe. Stay out of trouble. No when to say when over here, guys. It's okay to wait a few more months or maybe a year or so. Or just come over here on a visit before you cash in all your chips and show up over here. Because this may not be for you. It's easy over here, but it's not that easy, you know. Know when to stay. You're like, man, I'm comfortable now. You know, I found me a sweet spot over here. I think I can handle it. You know, I'm going to stay here. I got my Social Security coming in, my retirement money coming in. I know when it's time to go. You run out of money. Okay, have you been over here long enough? You say, man, I can't deal with this heat anymore. I can't deal with this, you know, the slow, methodical pace of the Philippines. I need a break. So take care, everybody. I'll see y'all next time. Thanks again, Mitch. Best of luck, man, on that AEP, man. I'm glad I don't have to do it. I've got to take my test, but I don't have to get out there anymore, pick up the phone and all that. I left that, man. I'm glad. Take care.